Welcome back to The Explainer, folks. Today, we are diving straight into day 6 of our multi-agent development journey. Look, if you've been following along, you know we've spent a ton of time in the weeds building individual agents, giving them specific tools, and really fine-tuning those prompts. But today, today, the game totally changes. We are shifting gears entirely to focus on how you act as the conductor for your AI team. We're talking about agent orchestration, literally the art and science of getting multiple artificial intelligence agents to work together seamlessly, efficiently, and, quite frankly, brilliantly.
Let's take a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll be covering number 1, managing agent intelligence, 2, sequential and parallel workflows, 3, smart routing and supervisors, 4, dynamic task delegation, and finally, number 5, the research team project.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Managing Agent Intelligence.
So we are officially moving out of Phase 1 and stepping right into Phase 2. This means our core focus is shifting strictly to managing agent intelligence. And you might be wondering, why does this actually matter? Well, up until now, you've been the creator, right? Standing over a single workbench, building one agent at a time. But in Phase 2, you are stepping into a management role. You aren't just building individual workers anymore, you are building an entire firm. Managing agent intelligence means you actually have to start thinking about resource allocation, communication bottlenecks, and how different AI personalities and capabilities interact with each other. It's a massive shift in mindset from the micro level to the macro level. And let me tell you, if you don't manage this intelligence well, you'll run into an absolute nightmare in production. Without proper oversight, you could easily end up with agents hallucinating in this infinite feedback loop, just constantly passing bad data back and forth while burning through all your API credits, and obviously, nobody wants that. So that is exactly what we're going to learn how to avoid today.
Moving right along to Section 2, Sequential and Parallel Workflows.
When you are managing all this agent intelligence, your baseline decision really comes down to choosing between sequential and parallel orchestration. Let's break that down. If tasks are entirely independent, say Agent A is summarizing a 50-page document while Agent B is off scraping a totally different website for demographic data, you absolutely want to use parallel execution. Having them run simultaneously drastically cuts down your overall processing time. You are maximizing efficiency by doing two completely unrelated things at the exact same time. But on the flip side, if tasks are dependent on one another, you need a fundamentally different approach. I mean, you can't exactly have an agent analyze data that hasn't even been scraped yet, right? That is exactly where we shift away from parallel and look towards sequential workflows. Now, in a sequential workflow, one step must absolutely 100% finish before the next one can even think about beginning. Think of it like a giant factory assembly line. Agent 1 gathers the raw data. Agent 2 cannot do its job, which is analyzing that data, until Agent 1 hands it over. And then Agent 3, the writer, cannot draft the final report until Agent 2's analysis is totally complete. What we're really talking about here is a critical architectural trade-off. You're basically trading the raw, blazing speed of parallel execution for the ultimate safety, predictability, and structure of a sequential pipeline. It's incredibly reliable, plus sequential orchestration makes debugging so much easier because you can pinpoint exactly which step in the chain failed. Okay, let's jump into Section 3, Smart Routing and Supervisors.
As we all know, real-world problems rarely fit perfectly into a simple straight line, and that brings us to conditional routing. This is honestly the moment your code starts to feel a little bit alive. Conditional routing allows your system to make smart, branching choices in real time, rather than just blindly following a single strict path. It utilizes decision trees to route tasks based on specific conditions that pop up during execution. Just imagine you're building a customer support triage system, okay? If the incoming query contains the word refund, the conditional route automatically detects that and fires it off to the billing agent. If it contains the word broken, it intelligently routes it right over to the technical support agent. You are essentially building logical gates that empower your workflow to adapt on the fly, based entirely on the actual data it's processing at that exact second.
Taking this whole concept a step further, we arrive at supervisor agents. You can think of a supervisor agent as the mid-level manager of your AI workforce, and ideally, one that doesn't micromanage. Instead of you, the developer, hard-coding exactly which agent talks to which every single time, you create a dedicated agent whose sole job is to oversee the workflow. The supervisor receives a massive, complex prompt from the user, breaks it down into smaller, actionable pieces, figures out which specialist agents are best suited for each subtask, hands out the assignments, and then, this is key, it reviews their work. The supervisor isn't actually doing the heavy lifting itself, it just delegates and reviews. Once the pieces meet its quality standards, it passes the final polished output back to the user. It directs traffic, ensures order, and keeps your specialist agents hyper-focused only on their specific domains. It's a real game changer. Next up, we have Section 4, Dynamic Task Delegation. So while a supervisor might have a general master plan, dynamic delegation is really your ultimate flexibility tool. It allows tasks to be handed off dynamically as the situation requires, even right in the middle of a process. Let's say your primary coding agent is running a complex script and suddenly hits an unexpected error it simply cannot resolve. Well, dynamic delegation allows that coding agent to autonomously hand off the debugging task to a specialized error resolution agent. And it does this without needing a pre-programmed conditional route or even a supervisor to step in and intervene. It's truly decentralized problem solving. For you as the developer, this is a massive relief. It saves you from having to write literally 1,000 complex if-then statements just to account for every possible edge case. This self-healing agility keeps the system moving and really prevents a single point of failure from taking down your entire workflow. All right, so with all 5 of these powerful orchestration tools defined in our playbook, sequential workflows, parallel execution, conditional routing, supervisors, and dynamic delegation, the natural question is, how do we actually put this all together? Knowing the concepts in theory is one thing, right? But architecting them into a robust, functional software application is another beast entirely.
Which brings us perfectly to our final section, Section 5, the Research Team Project.
Your project for day 6 is to build a fully orchestrated research team. Now let me be clear, this is not a simple single-prompt script. It requires you to act as the true conductor and utilize every single one of the 5 orchestration methodologies we just covered. Here's how it'll look. You'll need to design a system where a supervisor agent takes a broad, complex research topic from a user. Then the supervisor must use parallel orchestration to send out multiple web scraping agents simultaneously to gather data from different corners of the internet in record time. Once that raw data is back, it needs to use conditional routing to decide if the material requires a deep dive analysis from a specialist or just a quick, simple summary. If a highly specialized task comes up out of nowhere, say translating a foreign language document it just stumbled upon, you'll implement dynamic task delegation to seamlessly pass that data to a specialized translation agent. And finally, all of this complex gathering and routing culminates in a strictly sequential step where a writer agent compiles and polishes the finalized research report. You're basically building a complete, breathing ecosystem of AI intelligence humming together flawlessly.
So as you fire up your development environment to start building this Phase 2 project, I want to leave you with a challenge to think about. Which of these orchestration methods will be the critical first step for your research team's success? Are you going to focus on building a robust supervisor to rule them all from the top down? Or will you start from the bottom up by perfecting the parallel execution of your base workers? The way you architect this very first foundation is going to determine the ultimate intelligence of your entire multi-agent system. Good luck with the build, have fun with it, and keep experimenting. We'll see you next time.